what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Lineage Break, a Grand Archive TCG podcast. I am your host, Cam. With me, as always, is the glue, Steve.
Hey, guys.
Hi, Steve.
Hi, Cam.
We're back. Actually recording on time. We have lots of spoilers to talk about. We're not going to make any grandiose claims like we did last week about how many things we're going to get through and then inevitably take too long talking about the fire cards. But we're going to start with fire today.
We're going to try our best to get through
Fire, water.
And maybe water.
We're going to see how it goes. We have a couple of things to talk about before that, though. As usual, we've been getting the slow drip feed of news, and most of that has been related to Worlds.
Yeah. So we have a couple things that went live this week, right?
Right.
We got
I think.
Ontario tickets went live on Wednesday.
Correct.
I was panicked. I just want you to know.
You thought they were Worlds tickets?
I saw the
notification. Fucking it up again?
Yes. I saw the notification on Discord, and it said tickets live, and I was like,
oh no.
Did I fuck it?
Oh no.
Did I fuck it? And then I saw it was for
That's on Saturday,
for
actually.
Ontario.
That Worlds tickets go live.
I thought it was today.
No, it's tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
But yeah, Ontario tickets are up. They are, as far as I know right now, Champion and VIP are both sold out.
Yep.
But we, at least of the time of recording, there's still regular admission tickets, but I assume those will be sold out pretty shortly.
I would assume, yeah.
We are not going.
No.
Me and Trent were thinking about going, but after the Houston announcement for Nationals, I think it's going to be pretty hard.
I spoke to Lineage Break Trent Gott. I believe he's still going to Ontario.
He has not bought a ticket.
I know he didn't buy a ticket, but last week when I talked to him, he still seemed interested in going.
I talked to him this week.
Oh, okay.
we're not doing it, unfortunately. Just too much money. Too many cross-country flights. Give me something. Give me something close, okay? Like next U.S. Ascent, please. Over here. You did down there. You did over there. Over here, please.
Even Midwest, like, give us like a 10-hour drive, not 24 more.
Right. Yeah, do like, Andy can run a regional. Is he big enough? He's probably big enough. I don't know. So, Ontario tickets are live. Those are a thing. We hope you all enjoy it. We will not be there, but we'll be rooting for you and watching Shinja's stream from
and we'll be
home
cursed.
base.
We'll be in the comments like little mice.
Yeah, can we can we co-cast it? Is that a thing that people do?
Can we cast the cast?
Cast the cast.
Oh,
yeah.
I love that.
Other than that, we have also gotten the World's ticket packages, which are going live tomorrow as of recording this. So we know what the ticket packages are. There's the normal ones, the regular, the champion, the VIP, and there's also super VIP. Yeah. So I said this a few minutes ago for you, but I've saved it for the camera. That I have a conspiracy theory that came to me in the shower last night, when I'm obviously only thinking about Grand Archive. So, have you noticed, because I've noticed, because this feels to me, developers, the CPR frostbinds that they're giving out in these the VIP packages, CPR frostbinds, Steven.
Doesn't that have the funny cleric word on it?
It feels like a personal attack. Like, I feel like I am being targeted, and I don't like it.
So I've had this thought too, because like every time they're like, "Hey, look at this new thing,"
they're all cleric cards.
They're all cleric cards, and if I remember correctly,
yeah,
you in the past have said I will
correct.
buy all of the CPRs, CSRs, CURs for cleric.
Yeah,
this is something you've said.
That's correct.
And now all the like event stuff, it's all cleric stuff.
Making it very difficult. Yeah, very very difficult on my already thin financial margins. So here's my conspiracy theory, and I hope I don't often get responses directly from the developers because they don't want to, they know I'm right all the time. And they don't want to, justify me saying things. But I hope that I get a laughing dog emoji from Silidar after he watches this episode, where I figured it out. In my brain last night, I figured it out. So all of the stuff this season, all of it, is cleric stuff. Like the regional promo, the store championship promo, the new, world's entry promos are all cleric cards. Even like the merch pack is Frostworn Paladin, Nullifying Lantern, the other two. But a lot of cleric stuff going around. And do you remember, because I remember very clearly, when Silidar on Twitter posted a poll, this was before we saw anything for ALC, about what class people were most excited for, and I got all you goons to vote for Cleric on Twitter, and Cleric won that poll.
Yeah, Cleric
and
did win that poll.
my conspiracy theory is that's how they were deciding what to do the promos for, is the cursed poll on Twitter.
You might not, that might be true.
And I think that might be true. They're like, all right, I guess we'll make all the promos, Cleric this season.
That's so funny.
That's what it feels like. All right, so I'm watching you.
I also would I would also subscribe to the fact that
large decisions are made off of 20-person polls on Silidar's Twitter.
Well, no, large.
Because I would
large decisions are based off just trolling you, and I love that thought too.
I'm not that special, I think. I don't think.
But honestly,
I don't think any real decisions are
if
made
I
off
was running
trolling
this
me.
game, 100%.
Well, surely,
100%.
But
Or if if not just you, right? If one person in the community was outspoken as much as you are for Cleric,
right?
And I was a developer and I saw that,
clown that person, for sure,
all the time,
mm-hmm.
all of the time. Oh, hey, here's your super VIP. You need 4 of these.
Yeah, they are truly putting me to the test. It's like $480 or some absurd amount of money. Not to say that that's completely unreasonable. I think if you buy the $480 ticket,
you should get a
and
plus
you just
one.
you just sell all the stuff. You're probably in the thousands for sure. So you make your money. It's just
it's an investment.
$500. I can't do that.
Yeah, I can't. Either.
I can't do that. I'm buying the medium one that gets the deck box.
I'm not a champion.
Yeah, right.
Just give me the nice leather deck box.
Yeah. Hopefully it's Cleric deck box. That'd be sick. Man. Ooh.
You just open it up. It's just Arisana.
Oh my god. Ooh. Don't get me started. All right.
But you know what I'm hoping for.
Tony B. That'd be pretty good.
I'm hoping for
Tony B deck box.
Tony B deck box.
That would be absurd.
I would pay $100 for a Tony B deck box.
Well, you're already paying $120. So.
Well, no. I'm just saying, if this isn't Tony B,
make another one.
Make a Tony B deck box for me.
That one needs to be the double wide so that you have the spread.
Oh, yeah.
Surely, need the large abs.
Yeah.
So that's all of our news for the week. So let's jump into spoilers. We're going to start with the fire cards today. Steven.
Yeah.
What's our first fire card today?
First fire card today is a Ranger ally human.
She's cute.
She's cute. Her name is Airship Engineer. She costs 2. She is a fire, because that's what we're talking about. She has a class bonus, ranged 2. So you get +2 to attack when she's distant. On enter, she becomes distant, and you draw a card into your memory. Kim.
That's not true. I gotta read that one more time there, Grandpa.
If you control a distant unit, you draw a card into your memory.
Yeah.
Hey, reading the card explains the card.
Mm-hmm.
My peepers don't work so well. You see the glasses? Can't read that well.
How do you feel about this card, Steven?
I think that card is pretty good.
I think this card's absurd.
This card's pretty good.
Busted.
I think so. Without knowing most of the mechanics for this set,
sure,
because we don't.
Right.
Ranger's looking real strong.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, assuming that you can get distant fairly reliably, which it seems like you can probably do that fairly reliably.
We've seen a few cards last week that gives distant.
Right.
So,
this is it's like a 2-mana 3/2 that draws a card.
Yeah.
It's absurd.
Yeah.
It's absurd.
Yeah.
Absurd. Even if it's a 2-mana 1/2, because it's probably harder to give her ranged, right? But as long as you're playing it when you have somebody else who's distant.
The card from last week with Evasion.
Right. But then it's you're costing a card to do it, right?
Right. It's
so
cantripping or whatever.
Not going to, work that into her evaluation, right?
I guess.
But even if you play her as a 2-mana 1/2 that draws a card, that's absurd.
It's pretty good.
This is an absurd card.
It's pretty good.
And then sometimes she has 3 power.
It's pretty good.
It's nuts. All right. Hey, she's pretty good. Moving on. we have Automaton Bomber, say 3-cost fire, ally, ranger, automaton, 1 power, 2 health, range 4. So if this unit is distance, it gets +4 attack, and it's floating memory. So it's 3 mana 1/2. That is sometimes a 3 mana 5.
It's pretty worth playing.
Yeah. Again, it all comes down to how reliably you can give these things distant, but like.
Right.
It has floating memory. It's class bonus floating memory, but has floating memory. Has a huge face. Attack for 5 is pretty good. I don't know. It's like a really bad card if you don't have range, though, right?
Yeah.
Like if you can't make a distance, just like the worst. It's 3 mana 1/2.
Yeah, 3 mana 1/2 with class bonus.
It is an automaton, which does matter for some cards.
Yeah.
So I know there's like that water card that cares about banishing floating memory automatons specifically, that I guess maybe we'll talk about today. Seems all right. What's up next, Steven?
Ooh, look at this. We got a Guardian Sword attack. It's a Blazing Charge, reserve cost of 2. Attack Guardian Sword. Class bonus, it gets +2. It normally is 3, so if you're a Guardian, this is a 5 attack for 2. It's pretty good. On attack, at the beginning of your next turn, if damage would be dealt to your champion, they take that much damage +1 instead.
Until the beginning of your next turn.
Isn't that what I said?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I think I really like the design on this card.
I really enjoy this card.
I don't know if it's good, but I think the design is really cool.
I mean, regardless, right? I
Yeah.
mean, you might die, right? Like,
Right.
1 damage is a lot.
Right. It
However-
just gives you a poison dagger on yourself.
Correct.
Yeah,
However, 2 mana 5 attack.
yeah 2 for 5 is pretty
Pretty
good.
good. It's pretty value.
Right.
And then you just resolute stand on your next turn, and you're fine.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I think it's really cool. I don't. Well, we'll see if it ends up mattering. It is really good. I think I think it is less good as a lava axe, right? Like hit you for 5 seems like not super high value, but it's a great removal spell. For
Well, I mean, like you think of like
resting allies or whatever, you just like attack them for 5. That kills almost everything in the game.
hit you for 5
everything in
is
the game.
also pretty.
Yeah, it's just like the downside is real, right? So like if you're in a racing matchup, I don't know that against like a fire deck, I want to attack them for 5 and then take probably way more than that.
Well, right. Like, well, think about it. Like you attack them with a sword plus this. You swing for like
6 or something.
6 or 7 or 10 or something.
Right.
If you have a ridiculous sword, and then you just throw it at them.
The sword?
The
You're just
sword.
like blazing throwing
Yeah.
at them? We're just playing Guardian Burn?
Yeah.
Maybe.
That's one of the things I've been thinking about.
I don't know. You probably need more cards than this to make
Well,
that
yeah,
good.
obviously.
But, it helps. It's,
Tony
it's like
B,
a big bolt.
or level 2 Tony, he gets that
It's +3?
+3.
Yeah. Mm.
Now you're getting to some big numbers.
Well, I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, I think it's all right.
Yeah.
After that, we have one of our CSRs for the set is Crimson Tear. She's a 3 reserve cost unique ally assassin automaton, and she has lots of text. Level 1+ as long as Crimson Tear is attacking or retaliating against a human. Crimson Tear gets +1 attack. Level 2+, whenever you activate a reaction card that targets Crimson Tear, draw a card into your memory. If it is not your turn, wake up Crimson Tear, and she is a 2/2 base. They all are. All of the like unique CSR scribblies they're good cards. Who would have thought? They make good cards into CSRs. This card seems really good though. Something to note that every single champion in the game right now is a human. So she does get that +1 retaliating against every champion as well. And human is obviously the most relevant ally type in the game. Almost everything is a human. I think now with ALC we're getting a bunch of cards that are automatons, but other than that, it seems like almost everything is either a human, an animal, or a beast. Those are basically the only typings that exist. So I don't know. I think this card's pretty good. How do you feel about Crimson Tear, Steven?
I think she's pretty good. I think there might be more to her once we see more of the set.
Right.
For her second ability.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem like insane. Most of the time, she's a 3-mana 3/2, which
Right.
is good.
Right.
That's like a good rate. You'd be happy to play that. The only downside, obviously, is that she's unique, so you can only have one on the board. But in a world where we're playing, like Lurking Assailants and Esteemed Knights that are 3-mana 2/3s, I think you'd be happy to play the opposite and play a 3-mana 3/2.
My only issue, right, is like I think about it, and like most other unique allies are like a problem when you put on the board. And this
Yeah, I mean, we
really
have Gildas, right?
Right.
But
like Gildas, Lunette, like
yeah, they demand answers. I think this card also probably demands answers.
I don't know. It doesn't feel like that to me.
I feel like it trades really well. I think that's the thing that's scary about this card is you attack for 3 when she comes into play. So let's say in a world where we're playing against like current water allies, right? The entire deck's 2/3s. We'll assume they don't have a Lunette in play. So Crimson Tear comes down, she attacks one of their 2/3s, kills it, right? Assuming it's resting. And then you have, stuff like Deflecting Edge is insane with this card, right? So you just you pass the turn, they're like, well, I got to kill your Crimson Tear before it Doomblades another one of my guys. You say, I'll cast a Deflecting Edge. She'll wake up because it's not my turn, so she just trades with another thing. Seems kind of good to me.
Yeah.
I wonder if there'll be more reactions that are as suitable for her as Deflecting Edge. You can do the stealth thing, which is really stupid, the way that retaliation timing works with stealth,
Right.
where you can play whatever the new reaction is that gives stealth.
I'm pretty sure that doesn't it have her on it.
Yeah, I think so. It's like her card.
Yeah.
Gives her stealth. Obviously, you still get to retaliate because that is how the sequencing works.
Yep.
So the same thing. She untaps, she kills something, she gains stealth, she can't die. Seems good. I feel like there's a home for her in these mid-range fire decks.
Yeah.
Maybe even aggro. I mean, 3 power is good for 3.
I'm gonna try to read this next card appropriately and
Okay.
not mess up the text.
All right. Good luck.
So we have a reserve cost 3, Fanatical Devotee, Ally Cleric Tamer, Automaton. You good? You made a
No,
face.
yeah, I'm great. Yeah, you're doing great.
Okay. It's got Memory 4+, Fanatical Devotee gets +1 attack. Class bonus, on death, you may banish 2 other fire element cards from your graveyard. When you do, deal 3 damage to target champion. It is a 2/2 base. This card seems pretty good.
I don't like it.
You don't like it, huh?
I don't like this card. I think I don't think it's a bad card. I think it's because that's not me, Chief,
Well, just because it's not your playstyle, right? Like,
Well, yeah, I said I don't like this card.
it feels like a good, strong card, though.
It's fine, I think. I even didn't really like Blazing Bowman,
But that card is great.
It's fine. I don't like anything that relies on too many things,
Yeah,
this
no, I understand.
relies on way too many choices from your opponent, where it's like
Is this the first time we've seen Memory, though, as a...
probably the first time we've talked about it. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's on a bunch of cards.
It's a very cool mechanic.
Yeah, definitely fits that sort of cleric feel. We had all these Kickstarter things talking about cleric doing memory manipulation, but I think a lot of that got nixed in actual development, but we see shades of that in the memory keyword. But yeah, I think this card's fine, but it doesn't turn on its own memory condition, so you have to cast it as your second spell to get the +1. And if you do, it's pretty good. Like the last card we talked about, it's the 3-mana 3/2. It's a good body. The problem that I have is that the on death is very situational. She has to die, and that is not really up to you unless you're casting spells to kill your own dudes, but that's not a winning line, right?
Mm-hmm.
So your opponent has to decide when to kill it, and you also have to have 2 fire cards to banish, so it sits in that same spot as Blazing Bowman, but worse. Where Blazing Bowman you play on your turn, and as long as you have fire cards, your opponent doesn't have a whole lot of interaction with it, but they can see you play this Fanatical Devotee, and they're like, oh, I have to kill that next turn, so I guess on my turn I'll materialize a Null Lantern, then I'll kill your Devotee, and she doesn't have any text, and
Fair.
so, bent over backwards for this 3-mana 3/2. However, again, that stat line is good. We'll see if that becomes the norm. Maybe this is power creep at its finest, and the 3-mana 3/2 is on the rise.
Yeah. As long as it's not the 1/4s, I'm good.
That's fair.
1/4s are tough.
Next, we have Rocococococo. Well, not actually, but she's on the art. We have Fireworks Display is a 3 reserve cost action ranger skill. It says deal 1 damage to all units target player controls until end of turn. If a unit that player controls would die, banish it instead. It is a fast fire action. It's electrickery. Sort of.
Kinda, yeah.
I don't know that 1 damage is ever relevant.
Correct. I was just gonna say the same thing.
Goodbye, Blitzmage. It has been lovely knowing you, ma'am. You are dead. But other than
it
that,
seems mediocre at best.
it's like good if you do the thing. There's just like there's not a whole lot of like there's no Massacre Girl effects, right? Like we're not pinging the board basically ever.
Right.
So it's like really sick, I guess, if your board is full of like 1/1s and they have a bunch of 2/2s and you attack all of their 2/2s for 1 and then you play a Fireworks Display. But I don't know, it doesn't seem great. But when you get it off, it's good.
I'm excited for this next card.
Oh yeah, I bet you are.
Next card we have is Forge Light Shield Maiden. Reserve cost of 3, ally guardian human with Foster. On Foster, draw 2 cards, discard a card. Class bonus, if a fire element was discarded, put a buff counter on Forge Light Shield Maiden. She's a 1/2 normally. I think this card's great.
They know. When they're choosing the art, they get it. This card is insane. And of course, my lord, they gave her some art. She sure does have some art.
I love this card.
Yeah, it's really good. It's Creative Shock on a stick. Creative Shock is a absurd card.
Yeah.
Like the fact that Creative Shock exists is nuts. And so now
This could be a vanilla, and I'd still love this card.
is
I just
like
want that to be known.
it's a Guardian card, sure.
Yeah.
It doesn't have class bonus.
No.
So not just like every fire deck can
Well,
just
it does have class bonus.
it doesn't. Like anybody can foster. It just means she doesn't have to take damage.
Oh, you mean class bonus for the Creative Shock?
Right. Yeah.
The card does have class bonus on it.
Yeah, so you just get to, like, every deck gets to play 8 Creative Shocks if they want it. You just play this idiot. It's a Creative Shock on a body.
It's awesome.
It's great. Yeah, I didn't realize the buff counter is class bonus.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I mean, like, it makes her into the stat line, right?
Right.
Like, I think the 3-mana 2/3 is our Grizzly Bear. You know, like, that's where you want to be. That's our, that's our baseline.
Yeah.
For a playable creature right now is the 3-mana 2/3. So, yeah, I think she's nuts, and she is
Beautiful.
yeah.
I'll say it. I love that art.
Oh. All right. Next, we have a 3 reserve cost unique domain assassin market. Is Gloam Spire Black Market. It has a rest ability. Each player with influence less than 7 draws a card into their memory. Activate this only at slow speed. And then its upkeep cost as a domain is at the beginning of your recollection. If your influence is 8 or greater, you sacrifice it. So this is it's like increasing danger on crack, right? It's like increasing danger that you get to hit the button as many times as you want, as long as you have influence 7 or less. So I think this is a
well, you can't hit it whenever you want, right? Because
on your turn, yeah,
it's slow,
right? This card feels to me like Experimental Frenzy. Are you familiar with Experimental Frenzy,
I am
Steven?
not.
So it's good because for all of the people out there that don't know every Magic card for no reason, Experimental Frenzy is a Magic card that is a 4-mana red enchantment that allows you to play cards off the top of your library. What it was, the important part about this, is it was like a sideboard plan for the aggressive red decks to get some amount of incremental value to like grind out the control decks, right? So you're still like a burn deck, you're still an aggressive deck, but you run out of steam when your opponent's like playing a bunch of counter spells. So you need something that helps you, get a little bit of gas, and that's exactly what this card feels like to me. It feels like a slam dunk into, these like Fire Xander aggressive decks for their control Merlin matchups where they're looking to, like trade 1 for 1. They know that their control opponent is trying to keep as many cards in hand as possible. So this card is usually going to be one-sided. And it's, you're hell-bent. You're looking for, that last blazing throw to kill your opponent.
Yeah.
So I think this card's nuts. Very good.
Yeah, I think this card is definitely a good addition to, like you were saying, the fast aggro decks.
Right.
Because
even like combo decks, like
because I've played that deck and it does. So like sometimes it feels like you just need that one more card, and when you get it, it's just like okay.
Yeah, I mean, like
Close out the game.
in a perfect world, this is just tap draw card every turn, which is insane. So it does draw into memory, so it's a little bit slow, but
that's fine, right? Like, all right.
Next, we have my wife.
She is beautiful.
Thank you.
So we have Inzali, Unshackled Blaze. She's a 3 reserve cost unique ally cleric automaton.
You did it.
I'm gonna try to pronounce it wrong for you because I know it peeves you.
Yeah, I'm triggered.
Yeah. Class bonus. On attack, you may banish a fire card from your graveyard. If you do, deal 1 damage to each other unit. Level 3+, memory 4+. She gets +2 attack. She's 1/4, the cursed stat line that I've talked about.
Free from eternal servitude, free to endlessly smite is my favorite flavor text that they've put out in this set. Let me know, Weebs, who wrote that one. I want to send them a personal thank you.
He's gonna send you a what are those? The edible arrangements.
I'll send you an edible arrangement for your
contribution to this.
Your contribution to her beautiful flavor text, and I'm hoping that she is one of the. I guess I'm not because I hate money, but I'm hoping she's one of the CSRs in Alter. That's my big brain thinks.
I mean, unique ally.
She's a unique ally. She's got a name. She's cute as fuck. I think she's pretty good.
Yeah.
Her condition to get the power is tough.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It is a lot, but it does make her a 3/4.
I would like to see what
very
a
good text
fire cleric deck looks like.
Yeah, so I think this card is one of the things that does work really well with Fireworks Display, that card we talked about a little bit earlier. More things to like ping the board. And I think that is something that we're really missing in Grand Archive is sweepers, right? So I like the idea that we can sort of build our own sweepers with, cards like Inzali, Fireworks Display, sort of like work in tandem. And when they work, they're insane, right? Like think about playing against any of these aggressive decks, especially like fire ones, where you're like, okay, I'll play an Inzali, I'll ping the board, then I'll play a Fireworks Display, I'll kill all of your 2 toughness guys, and they all get banished from Fireworks Displays. So like if you're a fire deck, that is a real cost.
Right.
So I think she's pretty solid. She does something worth noting. She does deal 1 damage to each other unit, so it is your face, their face, all of your creatures, all of their creatures. So she's just real angry, just bonking
endlessly
everybody
smite.
on the
Yeah, she just slams her staff down.
Yeah, I love her. I'd die for that woman. All right, next we do have a very interesting one. Something that people have been talking about a lot is Meltdown is a 4-cost action cleric spell. Fire, slow, level 2+. This card costs 1 less to activate. Not class bonus, just level 2+. It is destroy target domain, item, or weapon. So this is Shades of Spurn to Ash. At level 2, it is the same cost as Spurn to Ash for 3. Otherwise, it's for 4. This destroys any item, any weapon. So it gets around that cost restrictions. You can blow up stuff like Prismatic Edge. But most importantly, this is the first card that we've seen that can destroy domains, which we did not have before. There was nothing in the game that could target domains other than Excalibur Cleansing Light. So this card, I think, is going to see a lot of play, especially if domains start seeing play.
Right. Which some of the domains seem pretty good.
A few, yeah. I mean, like Gloamspire is really good. We just talked about that one. I don't know I don't know that the other fire deck is going to be targeting their opponent's Gloamspire. Right. That's probably not really worth it. But we did see a little bit of DOA decks running around in this format, and we might see more DOA decks as the game gets a little bit deeper. Maybe we start seeing some cursed Rite of Realm domain stuff, Prismatic Sanctuary, stuff like that. But it's always good to have a blanket answer. I think we do definitely need more no button sideboard cards to deal with certain strategies. So I think this is perfect.
All right. Next up, we have Rococo Explosive Maiden.
Shout out to Geo.
Reserve cost 1. Unique ally, Ranger, Automation. Automaton. On enter, if your influence is 4 or less, deal 2 damage to target champion. Grandpa always said it's a best to have blast.
Grandpa always says best to have a blast is also very good flavor text. They're really nailing
It's a
it.
1/1. This card's great.
This card's so broken, dude. This card is absurd. There's like, I don't see the world where we decided to create this card.
Effectively, there's no cost. It's just
She's
shock on a stick.
She's insane. No, it's a lightning bolt. It's a lightning bolt. It's lava spike, right? Like it goes head, I guess.
Right.
It's lava spikes, 1 mana, 3 damage. She's like the
2 damage.
most.
Well, I guess 3.
The most slam dunk into the Fire Xander of all time. Think about this with your Poison Dagger turn. It's 1 mana 5 damage. It's insane. It's like 1 for 5. It's like Fire Blast. Like what?
And then
I am legitimately worried that like the burn deck is going to be insane after this set. It's absurd. And she's super cute. So Roko,
Coco.
this one's really good. We love the art. Has what's his name from Steins Gate in it. This is
I've only watched
Rocket Jump.
a little bit of Steins Gate.
You should. It's very good. Big fan of Steins Gate.
I was very confused, and then I was like, "Oh, it's time travel."
That's kind of the whole point. Yeah. You watch the whole thing. You'll get it.
And I was like, "Oh, it's time travel," and my friend was like, "It's not time travel. Keep watching." And then I fell off.
It's time travel. All right. Spoilers. This is Rocket Jump. It is a 5-cost action, fast ranger skill reaction. So it's reaction. I don't think it targets though. Oh, it does target. So you can use this on your Crimson Rose as well. Crimson Tier.
Crimson Tier.
All right. Class bonus. This card costs 2 less to activate, so it becomes a 3-cost fast spell. Target unit becomes distant if that unit is defending. Deal 4 damage to its attacker. So you get our favorite jokes about Rocket Jump are when you Rocket Jump when they're trying to clear your creatures with like their face. They're like Lorraine level 2, and they're like, I am going to go up to Lorraine level 2, and I will kill your Crimson Tier. And you say, I will cast this Rocket Jump. It will deal you 4, and then I'll retaliate for 3. And it's just a 3 for 7. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it sounds well. Nah, I guess.
Absurd. But I think this is, I don't know, it might be too costly to like defend stuff. It does kill basically everything in the game, ally wise. So like if they're trying to kill one of your dudes, but it gives it distant, but distant doesn't give it evasion, right? Like not naturally. So it does have to be something like Crimson Tier that, cares about being targeted or something. So I don't know. It ends up looking a little bit like Spontaneous Combustion to me, which is a card that hasn't seen play because it's a little bit too narrow. Only targets attacking creatures. And this is going to be the same cost as that and also requires like a target, right?
Right.
You can target yourself, which is real. So I guess you can target yourself, become distant, then 4 whoever's attacking you. That's okay.
Yeah, that's a unit, right? Not ally.
Yeah, it does say target unit. So
yeah, you got
maybe that's good enough.
Seems all right. Our last fire card.
I think so. Yeah.
Last fire card. Tether in Flames. It is an action cleric spell. Reserve cost of 3. Class bonus. It costs 2 less to activate. So if you're cleric, it's 1. Negate target activation unless its controller has Tether in Flames. Deal 1 damage plus your level, unpreventable damage to their champion. This is a fast spell.
It's our red counter spell.
Yeah.
It's our mana tithe.
It's kind of sick.
It is. It's cool. I'm really curious to see if it's good enough. If there's like a weird, aggressive fire cleric deck that you get to play this card in. Cleric is not, at least as far as we know, super known for their level buffs. Obviously, until it gets banned, we still have cards like Crystal of Empowerment, and 2 of your 6 herbs do give you plus level when you crack them. So this can be like a real number, even at early levels. This can be like 4 or 5 damage, but it sits in that vexing devil spot where giving your opponent a choice, they're always going to choose whatever is best for them. So they're either going to choose to take the 4 damage if it's not super relevant, or they're going to choose to just let their spell get countered if the 4 damage is relevant.
So I view this, right, like not as a cleric card, but just as like a counter card.
Yeah.
And this seems like late game level 3 Merlin stuff, like real strong.
I think it's really cool in Arcane Rye.
Arcane Rye as well, yeah.
Where you're like, I'll Arcane Blast you, and they're like, well, I'll, flash for you stat or whatever. I'm like, do you want to do that? here's 11 instead. If you know, if that gets countered, I think it's really cool. Yeah, Merlin as well might play it. But again, it's it's a card that doesn't really do anything in the early game,
right?
Which is hard for both of those decks to feels like.
But I definitely think I definitely think somewhere this card has play.
It's cool though. Yeah,
I don't think this is one of those cards where it's just like, oh, it's cool, never sees play. I think people are definitely going to build decks with this.
Yeah, like I said when we were talking about Rococo, the fire cards seem really strong so far. So I'm really worried about these aggressive fire decks just blowing my butt out. Next is our first water card.
We might actually be getting through everything.
Yeah, maybe. We're making good time.
We're cooking, and there's not many
we
win
are
cards.
Cooking.
We're in the kitchen.
We're in the kitchen.
We're not in the kitchen, but
hot and fresh out of the kitchen.
I'm always in the kitchen in my head. That's why I can't read cards.
Our first water card is, I think, the cutest art in the set. So cute.
So far.
So cute. I'd die for her. This is Awakened Deacon. She is a 2-cost water ally cleric automaton. She's a 1/3, and as long as you control 2 or more Phantasias, Awakened Deacon has Intercept, and she has class bonus floating memory. So she is like a mix between Swift Recruit and Dewdrop Hairs for cleric, which I think she's solid. I don't think this card's like nuts. But if you're leaning into that sort of Fantasia thing, if you're doing like fractals and stuff, she just becomes, a better Swift recruit. And even if you're not like a 2-mana 1/3 with floating memory, it's okay. There's plenty of slots, especially in these like water tempo decks that are going around now that are playing profiles that are worse than this,
Yeah.
So I think she's all right.
And I definitely think it's a step in the right direction to make fractals playable.
Yeah, I like anything that's trying to support the Fantasia game plan because I think that is really cool and something that is underrepresented right now because I don't think that they have enough tools yet. But I think we are getting there with a few things.
I definitely
in ALC.
I will always keep my eyes for Refracting Missile to be a good.
True. And she's so cute, Steven.
Next up, we got Awakened Frostguard.
Mm-hmm.
It's an ally guardian automaton.
Nice.
2-cost. Class bonus Foster. On Foster, you may banish up to 2 cards with floating memory from your graveyard. For each card banished this way, put a buff counter on Awakened Frostguard and draw a card. Awakened Frostguard has Vigor as long as it's fostered. This card seems pretty good.
Yeah, it's
it's a 1/2.
It's a 1/2. Yeah. It's Frostborn Paladin at home.
Yeah.
Where this card with 1 floating memory is, I think, fine. The fact she costs 2 is nice. But when you have 2 floating memory, I think this card is insane.
Well, yeah.
It's like absolutely absurd.
So because I'm slow and I'm unaware, you draw 2 cards with this.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you have 2 floating memory, she's a 2-mana 3/4, draw 2 cards, Vigor. Intercept. No intercept.
No intercept.
Okay, I see.
Just Vigor.
Just Vigor. Okay.
Which is not something to scoff at.
Oh, sure.
Vigor's very good.
Yeah, it's very strong. I think she's good.
Yeah, so like, I don't know.
I think she's like the most deceptive 2-drop ever, though. Yeah. Where like you're playing this card on like turn 5. You're not playing this on turn 1. You're like, oh, sick, my 1/2. Like, you need to really have some floating memory to make this work. So I think that leans, again, like something that we didn't really see in FTC and DOA is that water is supposed to be the floating memory color, right? But there's so little access to floating memory in DOA and FTC that just everybody's a floating memory deck. Like water doesn't really do it better than the other colors, but I think they're trying to push more towards that sort of class identity that they outlined a while ago, that's supposed to be water's thing. So we're seeing a lot more of that in ALC and less of it elsewhere.
Yep.
All right, next we have a card with Ari in the art, so it has to be good. It is Conjure Downpour. It's a 3 reserve cost action cleric spell, fast. Till the end of turn, whenever a unit attacks, that unit's attacks get -2. Class bonus, memory 4+, draw a card into your memory. So, I lied. This card's, I think, not good.
Yeah, I didn't want to say anything because I don't want to hurt your feelings because it's an Ari card, but
look how cute she is. She's making the storm.
Yeah. However,
yeah,
I don't know where this fits.
Well, so it's it's a tough spot where if Resolute Stand didn't exist, this card would be like actually really good.
Yeah.
Because it's like Resolute Stand, it's just worse. Drawing a card into your memory is nice. So I think there's maybe a world. It really depends what the.
So, but my issue, right,
right.
is that it has memory 4+ again, and
Yeah.
it only costs 3. So if you have nothing in memory and you play this card,
Right.
you have to have a second card to play to turn on the second ability.
Right.
Which is
True.
not great.
Yeah, I feel like the water deck that they're outlining, and we'll talk a little bit about it as we go through these water cards, for Cleric is very much do nothing, draw card, pass, and operate almost exclusively at fast speed. So I don't think that, at least in water specifically, that the memory costs are going to be too prohibitive. So I think it depends on what the texture of the meta looks like. If 2 damage is the relevant breakpoint, then you can just play this over Resolute Stand because it draws a card sometimes, right? And there's no downside. It's a water card. That's upside in some cases.
Mm-hmm.
But if 3 damage or 4 damage is still the relevant breakpoint, then this card is just worse than Resolute Stand, and you should probably just play Resolute Stand.
Yeah.
Maybe both. Maybe you're a crackhead. You're just playing 8 copies of this. All right.
And up next,
She's so cute.
she's very cute and she's very good, but I'm so tired of listening to the
What?
just the constant
What, people simping for
simping
Dahlia?
for this card.
She's so cute, dude.
And she's very good. I get it.
What's not to like? I know what's not to like.
It's Ranger.
Ranger class bonus. Cringe.
Cringe. So this is Dahlia, Idyllic Dreamer. She's 3 reserve cost, unique ally Ranger automaton. Class bonus on attack. Look at the top card of your deck. If it's a water element, put it into your graveyard. Ooh, that's pretty cool. Dahlia has ranged X, where X is the amount of water element cards in your graveyard.
She's water rending flames.
She's water rending flames
on a stick.
Oh boy.
Super good.
Yes, this card
She's
is very
absurd.
good. This card is great. But it's Ranger, so let's just
She's water rending flames.
let's just move past it.
It is a 2-card combo though.
It
It's
is.
a little bit worse. You do have to give her distant
Yeah,
in order for her to get the buff, but she's kind of absurd.
She's pretty
And
good.
look at her little skirt. It's a bandolier on her skirt. It's so cute. It's where she keeps her bullets, in her bandolier skirt.
It seems really far down to want to keep your bullets.
She's got long arms, dude. All right.
All right.
Anime girl long arms.
All right. I won't want to keep my bullets that far down. That's all I'm saying. Bandelier's chest.
Shut up. All right. Next, we have Dormant Sacrificial Altars, a 2 reserve cost domain cleric crossroads. Ooh. On enter, draw a card into your memory. Replaces itself. Pog. Sacrifice an automaton ally and a human ally. Put the top 2 cards of your deck into your graveyard.
I don't get it.
So this card is just, we haven't seen all the cards in the set, right? Like, it's the first time we did it. How long do we make it? 30 minutes into the show before I say this, we don't have all the context. This card replaces itself. So it costs you virtually nothing, right? So this is a card for the domain deck, right? And we saw that last week when we talked about Traverse the Streets. Is that what that card's called? The one that
Yes.
that
The draw card?
Yeah,
Yeah.
It like scries X equal to
Domain.
domains in play. So this is another card that like fits very well into your domain tribal deck, right? Because it's not unique. It replaces itself, so you can just like turn 1, dormant, go, and it didn't cost you any card advantage.
Right.
I think the sacrifice and an automaton and a human is virtually not text. It makes your Dahlia better. It makes your
To mill 2 cards?
yeah, it makes your Doomblade better. We'll talk about the Doomblade later. But I think domain deck could be cool, so I'm hoping that there's some actual support for the domain deck. But it might just be Dahlia support because it's good in your Dahlia deck, surely.
It
It plays
alright.
itself. Maybe you can do the thing to mill 2.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You can sacrifice your Dahlia. That's
I
fine.
would never.
Please do. Please, that's the winning play, right? You sacrifice your Dahlia. All right, up next. Oh, hey, look. This card looks familiar.
Wow!
Up next, we have
Sorry about that.
Flash Freeze. It's a 4 reserve cost action cleric spell reaction. Class bonus. It costs 2 less to activate.
That's pretty good.
It's pretty good. Negate target activation unless its controller pays level. Banish that card that had its activation negated this way. Fast. Which is pretty good.
We have 4 more Frostbinds. We get to play 8 copies of Frostbind. Woo!
Sick.
Yeah, I think it's decent. It's going to see way more use in the later levels of the game. And in Cleric, it's a little tough. Like we said earlier, you're not really like a level pump deck.
Right.
So you're not going to be like an absurdly high level so that this becomes actually a hard counter. I think most of the time, if you're playing this like later in the game, it's going to be for like 3 or 4, which is a lot if you have like herbs to sack or whatever. I do like that it's sort of modal in that case, where a lot of, I think these cleric decks want to keep their herbs on the board as long as they can, but you can like flash freeze for 2, but if it's like super important that you counter this, you can sack some of your herbs to, you know, pump your level to make it more of a hard counter. I think this card's super versatile. Something that is worth mentioning is this is really good for Battery Acid Rye.
Yes.
Where he will make this card a hard counter. Yes, you do have to pay for it, but it is just, you know, 4 mana counter target spell because he'll be level 12 or whatever.
Yeah, you're not going to have that.
So yeah, I think this card will see some play, and it's got Arisana in the art. Cute. Next, we have some more Fractal support, and I think this card's actually very good.
Yeah, I think this is probably one of the better Fractals that we've seen or have.
Maybe the best one.
Maybe the best one.
This is Fractal of Snow. It is a 2 reserve cost Fantasia Cleric Fractal. It has reservable, which means you can rest it to pay reserve costs. It has class bonus. Sacrifice Fractal of Snow. The next time 1 or more allies would enter the field this turn, they enter the field rested instead. So this is a mix between a Fractal, obviously, so it works with your Fractal synergies, and also Sudden Snow. So it gives you that sort of on-demand rest a unit that comes into play, or an ally, rather. But it does have the upside over something like Sudden Snow, that Sudden Snow you do have to keep mana up, and then if they don't cast an ally that you want to come and rested, you wasted, you know, your 3 cards that you kept in hand, right? So this is something that you can just tap out. You'll have them on the board. You never have to, you know, keep something up to activate them. And they are very strong. It's very strong to put certain cards into play rested. Think about like big powerhouses like Gildas, but also cards with rest abilities, Uther, Arthur, things that you can shut off those rest abilities if you have this in play.
Yeah.
Very good.
Up next, we have Freezing Round. This is a 2 reserve cost item Ranger Bullet. It has tap, load Freezing Round into unloaded gun. On champion hit, that player banishes a card at random from their memory. Return that card to their memory at the beginning of their next end phase. Class bonus, floating memory, 2 damage.
This card's cute.
This card, what? It's Chilling Touch.
Yeah, it's like Chilling Touch at home.
Chilling Touch. Well, Chilling Touch with damage on it.
Yeah, Chilling Touch that costs 1 more, but it deals 2 damage.
Yeah,
it's fine. I wonder what the like scarcity of bullets is going to be. This doesn't seem like the most powerful effect, unless it's like a sword issue where you just need more bullets. But you have the one that sort of recurs itself, which I think is also 2 damage.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wonder if this will see play. It's fine, and floating memory is nice. It is class bonus floating memory, so you're not going to get to do this in the super early game, which is usually when Chilling Touch is at its best. Is like turn 1, turn 2.
Well, you could do the super cute thing, right? Chilling Touch on your first turn, and then Freezing Bullet on your second turn.
Yeah. Maybe we're just Chilling Touch the deck. We just play Mind Freeze, Freezing Round, Chilling Touch.
You don't
get your memory ever.
Yeah.
Moving on is Doomblade. This is my. Oh no, this is not Doomblade. Never mind. Don't worry about me. This is the bad card instead.
Yeah.
We have Perfect Repulsion is a 2-cost action cleric spell reaction. The next time target unit you control would take exactly X damage, prevent that damage, where X is the amount of cards in your memory. Draw a card if damage was prevented this way. So
this would be great if it didn't say exactly, right?
Yeah. Yeah. The exact is so tough.
Yeah.
And it's not It's not like a controllable number. It's not like pay X, prevent exactly X damage. Something that, Siladar said a couple of times is that, cleric is like big brain or whatever. This is too big brain, I think. Like it's so difficult. I don't even know if I'm playing this card if it's like pay 2, prevent 2, draw a card. I don't know if that's good enough. So. It's just like way too narrow.
Yeah.
So like even if this was always pay 2, prevent 2, draw a card, I don't know. It's like really good, I guess, if it lines up with something absurd like a Rending Flames or something, but it's so hard to do that. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's probably one of those cards that it's just a poop card.
Yeah, I think it might just be a poop card. But here you go. This is my favorite part about the show, when that's the most broken card in the game. And we're dumb. Yeah. Here you go.
In 6 months, clip this, send it to us, let us know how dumb we are.
You get to do cute stuff with Scale of Souls. With that card, right?
Yeah.
Lets you control the amount of cards in your memory a little bit.
I guess.
I don't know.
Next up, we have our first infusion. It's a Potion Infusion Clarity. It's a reserve cost of 7. Class bonus. It costs 2 less to activate. It is an action cleric spell, fast. Rest target potion. If you do, it gains on sacrifice, draw 2 cards until end of turn. I don't know how good this is. A 5-drop card that you're giving up a resource to draw 2.
So here's our hot take. I think this card's pretty good.
Okay.
I think it does cost a card, so it's only a +1. But it has shades of Scepter, right? Where several times that I've had Scepter in play, you just pass the turn with your interaction up, they don't do anything. In their end step, you crack your Scepter, you draw 2 cards. And I think that's exactly where this is going to sit. Like I mentioned earlier, I think that Water Cleric is going to be very much like a draw-go deck, keeping all of their resources up. But a lot of times that's punishing, right? Like we said with Sudden Snow, if you keep cards up and your opponent doesn't do anything, it's really punishing for you to have kept your whole hand. So this is a nice way to spend resources and progress your game plan, even if your opponent doesn't cast anything relevant, right? If you're holding up a bunch of flash freezes and they're like, I'll play a Swift Recruit Pass, and you're like, I don't care about that. You can use your infusion to draw 2 cards. I think it just depends how many of the potions we're playing and what they do.
Right.
All right, next we have Reconnaissance Field. This is a 3-cost Fantasia Ranger spell. It has on enter, look at target opponent's hand and memory. Just taking a peek. It has class bonus, rest this. Target unit gains ranged 1 and true sight until end of turn. I think this is a very interesting card.
So this is both a permanent. It's a permanent and a spell. I'm a little lost.
It's a Fantasia.
All right.
So it stays on the board.
Okay.
Yeah, and you can rest it to give ranged 1 and true sight. So this is something that has come up in deck building lately, where some decks have opted to play stuff like Stillwater Patrol or Eye of Argus to give true sight to deal with mostly the fairy cycle from Altar. Or I guess some of them are from Altar. And I think this is a good way to get around that. Probably still fits in that same slot where it's a sideboard card, but it is a repeatable effect. So a lot of times you play your like Stillwater Patrol, you kill a Dream Fairy, and then it dies in return, and then they play another Dream Fairy, and you tear all of your hair out. Or at least this gives whatever you have on board, even your hero, because it's target unit, the ability to get through True Sight, which I think is good. Or get through Stealth with True Sight. So maybe sideboardable.
Mm-hmm. Up next is Sea Sprite Diver. It's a 4 reserve cost ally ranger automaton. As long as your opponent has 4 or more cards in their graveyard, this card costs 1 less to activate. On enter, banish target card in a graveyard to 3 body.
It is our favorite stat line.
2/3.
3 mana, 2/3.
Yeah. With a
It's fine.
okay effect.
It's fine. It's good in a fire.
Right? Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's a playable card.
I would probably play this in current water allies. Yeah. So it's okay. That's all I got. It's okay.
I think
Next, we have Stream of Consciousness, which is a 2-cost action cleric spell, fast. Class bonus, memory 4+, glimpse 3. Then none of that text. Draw a card into your memory. I've gone back and forth on this card.
This card seems good, but only in this draw go style deck that you were thinking that cleric water.
They're just giving us a bunch of cards. They're good for that.
So like, yeah, I see it, right? You know,
it's like a shitty Fairy Whispers.
Kinda, yeah. Except you're.
It's like exactly shitty Fairy Whispers.
You
can draw whatever you want.
You're doing this right in your recollection.
Yeah, you can do a recollection step, yeah.
You
or
know,
end of your
kind of
opponent's
like
turn,
what
whatever.
they're doing with Inspiring Call and stuff, where you're drawing into your memory and then recollecting.
Yeah.
Seems good there.
Yeah.
Same
thing. It's good on your opponent's turn if you don't have to do anything else.
Right.
It's okay. I think this is probably the kind of deck that would want a Fairy Whispers effect, so you probably will end up playing it, but obviously it's just like a little bit worse than that card.
Hey, I think this is the Doomblade.
You've done it. We found Doomblade.
we found Doomblade.
Yeah.
This is Torrential Blast. It's a 3 reserve cost action cleric spell, class bonus. Put the top 2 cards of your deck into your graveyard. Excuse me. Deal an amount of damage up to one target ally equal to the amount of water element cards in your graveyard. Fast speed. So you're just blasting things away with water.
This card's really good. It's just literally Doomblade.
This is literally what water needed.
Yeah.
Like a year ago.
It's a factual Doomblade.
This card's great.
It's like any turn except for turn 1. This is dealing like 4 damage minimum.
Yeah.
So it just is 3 mana Doomblade, which is great. Again, they're pointing me in a direction. This water tap out control deck is just playing Doomblades, which is great. I think the card's insane. And I think, I don't know, we got 15 minutes before we got to open the store. You think we can pound through these 8 wind cards or something?
There's less than that.
All right, we're pounding. All right, so this is our first wind card of very few. We're going to make it all the way through today, ladies and gentlemen. This is Armored Valkyrie. It is a 3-cost wind ally guardian automaton. It is a 2/2 base. It has Steadfast, which is a new keyword that says this ally can retaliate while rested and doesn't rest to do so. Class bonus, as long as Armored Valkyrie is retaliating, it gets +2 power. So this is a 3-mana 2/2 that gets to attack, retaliates while it's rested for 4.
Seems pretty good.
This card's nuts.
Yeah.
Nuts.
Yeah.
Especially in wind where you can buff this. If you put any sort of buff counters on this card, it is absurd. Because it's not a once per turn. Steadfast isn't you attack it once and, it retaliates and then it's like it was rested. It can retaliate as long as it's rested as much as it wants.
Right.
So if this is a big enough deal that your opponent has to send multiple threats of this, she just trades for all of them. Just nuts.
Yeah.
So
it's a board wipe on her legs.
Yeah, you put 2 buff counters on this, I don't know, Tune the Winds or something. And you get it to a 3/3 or a 4/4. It's huge. Massive. I think she's very strong. I mean, at worst, she's trading, right?
Up next, we have Cyclonic Strike, 4 reserve cost, attack Guardian Sword, class bonus, pay 0, suppress target ally you don't control. If you do, Cyclonic Strike gets -2 attack. Activate this ability only once. This does forward attack.
This is so weird, man.
I'm so glad you said that because I was
such a weird card.
Why would you ever want to do less damage?
Well, you suppress allies, right? It's pretty good.
I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Super strange.
Yeah,
This card is very strange.
I think I'm too small brained for this card.
It's super modal. Right?
Yeah,
That's
I guess.
The nice part about this is it has a lot of options that you can do with it, but it's very strange. I think 4 is probably kind of prohibitive. But interesting. I'm interested to see where that card goes. Next, we have yet another CSR. This is one of the event pack CSRs. And maybe, I think, unfortunately, I'm not going to play it, but it might be the coolest CSR in the set. I really like her frame break that she does in her CSR.
Yeah.
This is Purse, Relentless Raptor. She's a 3-cost wind, unique ally, ranger, human, 1/3 base. She has ranged 2, and she has rest. Suppress target ally, item, or weapon. Activate this only if Purse is distant. So she's a 3-mana 1/3. When you give her distant, she becomes a 3-mana 3/3, which is a very good stat line. Then she has the ability to sort of get whatever you want out of the way. Weapons, items, allies. She sort of sits, I think, in that same spot as Parsonet, where she is a really good both aggressive and defensive tool to sort of shut down whatever your opponent's problematic permanents are, or when you don't have to do that, she's just like a 3/3 for 3, which is a very good stat line.
Yeah. Up next, she is cute. Up next, we have Rose, Eternal Paragon.
Also cute.
Reserve cost 4. Unique ally, Guardian Warrior Automaton. Intercept True Sight. Class bonus, fast activation. Level 2+, on enter, you may change the target of an attack to Rose. If you do, Rose gets +1 toughness until end of turn.
Rose is super cool.
This card is sick.
She's super cool. And also a CSR.
And also a CSR.
Yeah, I think there's a lot that you can do with this. I think obviously the best case is you're level 2+, and she is a fast speed 2/4 that soaks an attack for you, sort of gives you that cry for help type text. The problem with Rose is that she's not likely to survive. She's not a big enough body that you can like flash this in, blank their attack, and also she lives. I think there are some times where that'll come up. You think about turns where your opponent like has to send multiple threats at like a Gildis or a Phalanx Captain, something that like is a big enough threat that they have to send multiple creatures at it, and she can flash in and grab the last one where they're like 1/1/1, and usually this is where you play like your deflecting edge and they get blown out. In this case, you can just play your Rose and they get blown out. You probably eat what they're attacking with. So I think she's got a whole lot of upside. She's a good body. She is not a human, which is important for the warrior strategies, as this does have warrior class bonus. But I can also see this coming into play in your Guardian decks where you're trying to protect your foster units.
Yeah.
All right, next we have Rapid Reload as a 3-cost action, ranger, skill, fast. Class bonus, efficiency. Materialize a bullet from your material deck. This is Beseech the Winds at home.
I think this card is nuts.
Yeah?
I think this card for Ranger, or well, obviously for Ranger, but like, I think this card is going to see play. I think the ability to, at the end of my opponent's turn, play this card for free because of efficiency, materialize a bullet, use a bullet immediately on my turn,
right,
I think is very strong.
Yeah, I wonder, it really depends what we're doing with these bullets, right? Where materializing out of activation is obviously very strong. That's why, like Beseech the Winds is such a strong card. But the advantage that you gain from something like a Dungeon Guide or a Beseech the Winds is huge, and it's unclear to me so far how much advantage you gain from getting a free bullet. In the early game, you get an extra materialized step, right? So maybe it's like you have to be leveling up, similar to like a warrior deck, so you have to be using your materialized steps to level up your Diana, and this is a way to get the bullets in the meantime. I'm not sure, but I agree it is a powerful effect. It's fast, which is really strong. So you can do it on your opponent's turn.
Yep. Up next, another cam card. We got Wild Growth Elixir. It is a reserve cost 3 item cleric potion. It has brew, which is sacrifice herbs to
2 herbs in this case.
2 herbs. At the beginning of your recollection phase, put an age counter on Wild Growth Elixir. You can sacrifice it and put X buff counters on target ally, where X is the amount of age counters on it.
I think this card's really strong.
I think this card is good. I just don't see it yet.
Yeah, I don't think we're seeing Wind Cleric just yet because we have not seen like very many Wind cards at all. But I do think that this card, just on its face, is very strong. If you do this on like turn 2, so let's say you level up to RE level 1, you brew you gather a couple of herbs, you brew this on like turn 2, you just leave it on the board. It sort of reminds me of like Shrine of Burning Rage, right? Where it's like this incremental thing that's just going to keep ticking up, and your opponent knows if they don't deal with it, it will eventually kill them. And the only thing that you need to do to like keep this card safe is just like have a creature on the board at all times. The only time that you get super blown out is if they like wipe your board, then they play, you know, something that blows up your potion, or they like suppress it with purse or something. Then you're like real sad. But any other time you can just be like, okay, I'll sack it and put counters on my Swift Recruit or whatever.
Right.
I do think it's good. Oh boy.
Yep.
Speaking of cards for me.
Yeah, saved the best for last.
We have Astarte, Celestial Dawn. She is a 3 reserve cost, unique ally, cleric human. Astra. 2/4 stat line. She has class bonus fast activation. And if an object would enter the field under an opponent's control from anywhere except from the effects stack, banish it face down instead. So for anyone who doesn't understand exactly what that means, this means the only time that objects can enter the field from your opponent without Astarte interacting with them is when they are cast naturally. So this stops stuff like Zephyr, Displace, Incarnate Majesty, all of these things that put permanents or objects into play via an effect not being cast.
Right.
So the fact that this card has fast activation is insane. Obviously, she is an Astra card, so you're only going to get to play this at level 3, but this card single-handedly shuts down Incarnate Majesty, which is
awesome.
Huge for the game.
Yeah, it's awesome. Because right now it feels like a race, right? Like
Right.
You're playing a deck to either race your opponent to get there, to like get them dead before they get Incarnate Majesty, or you're racing to play Incarnate Majesty.
Yeah, so now it's going to be the opposite for them, right? Like they have to get their Incarnate out before you are level 3 because you will just, Astarte their Incarnate Majesty, which
and
is
then it's just never coming out.
It of course has interaction. Thankfully, none of the cards in this game are just like, blanket, this does a thing. They can always just remove it in response. You play your Astarte in response to their Incarnate, they fireball your Astarte. Great. Mission solved. But it is good to have interaction with this. It also obviously interacts very favorably with Dream Fairy Displace, which is something that we've been seeing a lot of, so your opponent can no longer displace their Dream Fairy because she's not going to come back. Something that is also worth noting is that this is not whenever your opponent does this, something like Containment Priest or Magic, if any of you guys are familiar with that, this is any time that this would happen to one of your opponent's objects. So this does also interact very favorably with you yourself playing cards like Displace and Zephyr, just turns them into factual Doomblades. It's like, I'll displace your dude, it does not come back, it gets banished face down instead.
I wonder if being banished face down is relevant.
It is super relevant because it deals with stuff that gets around that. So like Incarnate Majesty is a great example. Incarnate Majesty, when it's put anywhere else, like when it's put into your deck or put into your hand because it's a Regalia, it goes to your material deck instead, right? But it can still be banished, but like the card Incarnate Majesty grabs it out of your banish zone, but if it's banished face down, it does not have its yeah, it is no longer a Majestic Spirit, it's a card that's banished face down in your
That's actually
memory.
Cool. So that also would function the same way with Arcane with Rai, correct?
Right. Yeah, so it does not count as an Arcane card because it's banished face down and does not have any of its text. So yeah, thankfully the way that Incarnate Majesty is worded is it's a May ability, so your opponent never has to do that, but it does work very favorably if they ever decide to. So obviously they'll just be like, I will not put a Majestic Spirit into play because it would be bad if they did. But if they do, they're sad. And yeah, same with Rai. If you I don't know what you'd be banishing, but if they're arcane cards, they lose that typing.
Okay.
Very cool. Astarte is very cool. So I think is that it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think there might be.
Oh, we have one more to talk about.
There's 3 cards at the bottom.
Oh, we have We have the starter deck cards, and then we have one more EVP CSR to talk about. Okay, so getting back to water a little bit. Sorry, we're a little out of sorts here. Long episode today. Thank you guys for watching. We have another cleric potion. This one's seeing a lot of buzz from the peoples. This is Essence of Blizzards. It is a 4-cost item cleric potion. It is brew 1 adjuvant and 1, I don't know how to say that word.
Catalyst?
And 1 catalyst. The first word. I don't know how to say the first word. I know how to say catalyst. So these are specific types on your herbs, so it makes it a little bit harder to brew. You do need one of one and one of the other. You sacrifice Essence of Blizzards to deal 1 damage to target unit. If that unit is rested, you deal 1 plus level damage to it instead. Until end of turn, allies enter the field rested. So this has a lot of text going on. You can use it as a sort of sudden snow because it does have that effect. And also you can use it as just like a fireball if your opponent is rested.
Yeah.
Which is quite strong. Again, I don't know if this is going to, like, if we're going to have enough levels to make this pay off. This is something that is ironically quite good in Mage, if we can find a way to get herbs into play. Is quite good for the Mage deck.
Yeah.
I guess you just can cast these for retail as well. That's the nice thing about the potions, is like you can just pay for it and put this into play, and it's pretty good for battery acid rye.
Up next is Hypothermia, which is a 2 reserve cost action cleric spell. Target rested ally gets -4 toughness until end of turn. Slow.
Hey, bro, you like Doomblade?
I like Doomblade a lot.
Hey, look, we got another Doomblade.
Sick.
Water Doomblades are pretty good.
Yeah.
This is like our spoiler card from last season, except good.
Yeah.
Doesn't have level 2+. They don't see it coming,
Yeah.
so you just like, they attack and you take it, obviously, and you're like, my turn, I'll Doomblade that.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. And then next we have a card that works quite well with Essence of Blizzards that we just talked about. Is Potion Infusion Frostbite. It's 1 cost water action cleric spell fast. Rest target potion. If you do so, it gains on sacrifice rest target unit. The next time that unit would take damage from a water element source this turn, it takes that much damage +4 instead. So the way that this works favorably with Essence of Blizzards is if you put this on your Essence of Blizzards, this resolves first when you crack that potion, so you can rest your opponent's champion. It will then take 1 plus level damage from your Essence of Blizzards, and that will be +4 from the effect on Frostbite. So it gives you this sort of 1-2 punch. These are both in the starter deck for Arisana, so this is assumingly how they want the starter deck to kill people. But yeah, cool. It might actually end up seeing some competitive play. We'll see how clunky it is. But
So now we're on, I think is probably one of the best Foster cards that exists.
it's very good.
We have Recruitment Officer. It's a 3 reserve cost Wind Ally Guardian Human. Class bonus Foster. On Foster, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, reveal an ally card from among them, put it into your hand, put the rest of the cards at the bottom of the deck in any order on a 1/3 body.
Yeah, she's really good.
Amazing.
She's a 3-mana 1/3 the draws card.
Yep.
Hard to argue with that. I think she will definitely play in these Wind decks, and maybe in a very similar, like Wind Allies shell with a Guardian twist.
Yep.
And then last but not least, we have Genie, Gifted Mechanist, I don't know, one of those. 3 cost unique ally cleric human, 0/2. It's a water card. Genie has pay 2 reserve, rest this, banish a card from your graveyard. If the banished card was an automaton ally card, summon an automaton drone token, which is a 1/1. If that banished card had floating memory, put 2 buff counters on an automaton ally you control. This card seems really good. Activated abilities to make permanents is quite strong. I think it really just depends on how many automatons that we have that are playable in water, and how many floating memory automatons we have to, sort of like tap, make a 3/3 is very strong. This does work quite well with Awakened Deacon. That's a great place for her to be. She's an automaton that has floating memory, so she can be banished out of your graveyard to make a 3/3. And any sort of like repeatable card advantage is quite good for slower, more controlling decks that Water Cleric is trying to be. However, this is an 0/2 without evasion. It will surely just kill it.
Yeah.
Which is tough.
Yeah. No summoning thickness or anything does mean that if you do have a target in your graveyard, surely you're just making a thing.
Yeah, it just comes into play, makes a 3/3, and then, if they let it live, it like sort of puts them in this position where you just made a 3/3, which is probably a way more relevant threat, but they have to kill this Genie if you have more cards in your graveyard.
Correct.
And you're hopefully, this sort of Drago control deck that hopefully has Doomblades for the guys that are trying to kill your Genie, right? So I think quite strong. Just depends on what that deck looks like. So, sorry to rush through all this, ladies and gentlemen. I do have a store to open. We're running a little bit late. But that is all of our spoilers for spoiler season 1. We did it.
Yeah, we succeeded. I was nervous, actually.
That we weren't going to get through it all?
That we weren't going to get through them all. And then we were going to be behind when Season 2 starts, because that's starting in the next few weeks, I believe.
Maybe. I don't know. There's supposed to be some sort of developer stream that one Shinja from TM32 is planning. And Silidar said the other day that that's where they're going to give design notes to. So I assume whenever that holiday stream is, that's when they're going to, unveil design notes too. So I think it's probably going to be a couple of weeks closer to Christmas time. We do know that we're going to get at least a little bit of some spoilers this weekend, as this weekend is Ascent Auckland. We're gonna date our video here and say big congrats to Cabin for winning Ascent Auckland. Congrats, Cabin. We we're so proud of you. But yeah, so we'll have some more spoilers to talk about next week, and we'll probably have some more Worldsy news to talk about. But that's all of our spoilers for now. We will see you again when we do our spoiler season 2 over the holidays. Steve and I don't have any real lives to do anything, so we'll probably just be here every week. Yeah. Still recording the show. No holiday break from us.
Yeah. You guys don't have to worry about missing an episode of Lineage Break unless Cam doesn't wake up on a Friday.
Don't upload it.
Or doesn't upload it.
Thankfully, big shout outs to our editor for for doing some editing. She did the last episode, which I would never have done all of the work that she did. So I appreciate it.
She is definitely increasing our
productivity.
And making the episodes, I think, better.
Good. Oh, yeah. Surely way better.
I hope you guys saw the Easter egg at the end of the last episode.
It's very good. Go watch the end of that episode if you haven't. It's too good.
It's too good.
There's lots of things. It is
consuming my life, actually.
Lots of things that are recorded at this table before I do our intro, and fortunately or unfortunately, our editor does have access to all that. So
yeah. And sometimes happy little accidents happen.
All right.
But thank you for watching, everyone. As always, we will be back next week with some sort of episode.
Yeah. See you then.
Have a good one.